Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker, and we're in the middle of February 2025 right now, and we've got a quick market update. We're gonna basically kind of go back and do a full recap of January at this point right now, and we'll talk a little bit about February and what we're seeing happening beyond this. But right now, there's a lot of stuff happening in the real estate market in general. So what we're seeing is that sales are slowing, inventory is rising, and it is creating different types of opportunities. We're not seeing too much in terms of price. Price is remaining more or less kind of flat. Now, before we get into all of this stuff, I just want to share with you the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board's forecast or prediction of what's going to happen kind of this year. So they are expecting sales to be higher than they were last year by about 12%, 13%. So they're saying that they're going to come in at about 76,000 in terms of overall sales throughout the GTA. They are also expecting the price to go up about 2.6%. And what we are going to be seeing is more or less more inventory, which is going to give more options to buyers, and it's probably going to hold the price steady. And that's just going to depend on how much inventory that we're going to end up with. Like if we end up with a lot more inventory, we might actually see a downward pressure on price. But if we kind of stick around that 20-ish thousand, then we might just see it kind of stable. I think that we need to kind of see the price or the inventory go down below that 15,000 mark to kind of actually see prices go up noticeably. Aside from that, a little bit of an inventory recap. So I noticed is that basically from January 1st to kind of the middle of February, if I looked at 2024, we saw the inventory come down about 8%. So not a very usual thing to do, but again, from December 23, we had a bit of a pickup in the market, which is unusual, which kind of went into 2024, January and February. So what we saw is that not a lot of new listings came up onto the market at that point, but there were stronger sales. So what that ended up doing is that it reduced our overall inventory by about 8% around this time. This year, what we have seen is that our inventory has gone up about 24% so far from the beginning of the year, maybe 26, but we've definitely seen a dramatic increase in our inventory. And now that we're recording this just kind of middle of February, we're almost hitting that 20,000 mark right now in terms of inventory. As of this morning, it was somewhere around 19,600, 19,700. By the end of this week, and likely when this is actually put out there, we'll be north of 20,000 in terms of listings. And that also is because our sales are slower than they were even last year. And we are starting to see it kind of slow down overall in terms of sales. Even I want to draw some comparisons for you guys. So even when I looked at the first 7 days of February, and the reason I look at it a little bit further back still is because deals don't get firmed up. And I know through the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, you are supposed to put in the sold date of when the actual sale is done, when it firms up. But what a lot of agents end up doing is they go back and they enter a sold date of when the offer was accepted conditionally, okay? I mean, it looks nicer on the market, number of days on market look lower, but the technical and the real thing for you to be doing is to actually putting in the date where it firms up. Because people don't do this and they go back 7 days, and in some cases with condos, they go back, almost 2 weeks because it takes 10 days to get a status certificate. I don't look at too much more recent sales, so I try to go back further out. Just want to give you that explanation. That's why I looked at the first 7 days of February and I compared it back to 2024. And just quickly, what we saw was like in terms of freehold homes, we saw 600, just over 603 freehold homes sold. But when we compared that to 2024, we had almost 800. So we have 200 already in the first 7 days in terms of freehold. Now condo, what we saw is that in the first 7 days, we saw 365 units sold versus almost 500. So we do have a big gap in these numbers in terms of like what the sales are looking like right now. And even when we look at, again, the total inventory, we are up about 50% compared to where we were last year. There are a number of factors that are kind of affecting this right now. I mean, if you've looked out your window and picked up a shovel in the last little while, you're probably sore by now. I mean, I was so sore I had to buy a snowblower finally, but it's the weather. I mean, if you see all of this inventory on the market and maybe you are looking at some houses, I think there's chances that when you see 25 centimeters of snow out there, you're like, this could probably wait. It's not that much of a compelling offer. And I think that the transactions that we are seeing happening right now, they are a compelling offer. The houses that I have actually seen sold, you kind of look back at it and you're like, that was actually a very good deal. And I think those are the ones that are transacting. So if you actually have a house out there that's even slightly above market value right now, I think that you're going to get completely overlooked. Before, we were okay with maybe going a slightly higher. Like if you had a property that I felt that was worth 1.2 million and you're like, hey, Hussein, I really think that this property is something I want to try it at like 1.25, 1.24 or something like that, we would be like, okay, let's give it a try and we'll do a price adjustment, in 7 days if we don't see it. But right now, if you are even at that kind of a number, I don't think anyone's coming to see you because there's so many people that are priced at the right number and they're still not even actually getting that attention. So pricing is a big factor, and like I said, the units that we're starting to see that are actually selling are actually a good deal. When you look at it, it's a good deal. But there was one house I actually saw that sold not too far away from me, just on the other side of the 401. It's in a nice neighborhood. It does kind of back up onto the 401. It's a little bit close. But I mean, you're looking at a detached double car garage home. It needed renovations and stuff like that, but overall a clean house. Sold for $1,150,000. Like, that is a good deal. In the peak of the market, I have to say that was a $1.5 million, $1.6 million house. Even last year, this was probably like a $1.3 million house, but it's $1,150 right now. So that was a good deal. And that's what we're kind of seeing transact right now. So I think weather is part of it. And I think the other thing is that there's a lot of uncertainty still out there right now. Unemployment numbers have been kind of up and down. Inflation has just ticked up. We were at 1.8, it's kind of gone to 1.9 right now. And not having some of the structural pillars in place. Like right now, we're out having a provincial election. We don't have a federal government in place right now. And Trump is kind of walking all over this situation that we have right now. It's so bad and backwards, in my opinion, that they haven't even opened up federal government when you have a Trump in the US that is just kind of causing a bunch of ruckus. Like, please put it in the comment below, send me a DM, but don't you think this is kind of wild? Like when you have a situation occurring in the US there right now, that's basically a guy saying, I'm gonna put 25% tariffs across the board on every single thing that, you guys send us, and that's our largest trading partner, and we don't have a federal government in place. We were causing an emergency act because there's people out there in parliament that are like protesting. That's an emergency act, but what we're seeing here right now is not an emergency. To me, that's just kind of backwards, and I don't want to get too much into politics, but I think that at a high level, any of you guys can kind of see this because it's going to affect all of us at this point here right now, right? So, I mean, it's good that Trump is kind of backed off on the tariffs, so maybe we have some time to kind of sort out a game plan, but I mean, those tariffs are in play right now for soft metals and aluminum and certain things right now, but that's a bit of a wild card. Like anything could happen at this point, and I think due to that uncertainty, people, if you don't have to move or they don't have to make a change, I think a lot of people are just kind of a wait and see situation. So I think that's what's kind of stopping the transactions. No word of a lie, like, when we started off the year, I have a board full of people that want to actually do a transaction. And maybe we had 22, 25 people out there that actually wanted to do something. But when you talk to most of them right now, based on the economic situation that we are facing, people are kind of on the sideline. So if they don't have to make a move, they're just like, hey, I'm going to just kind of wait and see what happens over here. There are people right now that are under some kind of a financial constraint. Maybe they have a mortgage that's renewing. They have a 1.8% mortgage that's going to 4.5%, and they really don't want to bridge that gap. So we have those people. We have people that have lost their jobs that are saying that, you know what, I want to get ahead of this. I'm not sure how the employment or how my job field looks right now, so I want to get ahead of this. So they have a financial constraint. Unfortunately, sometimes we have these estate sales that are happening. So these are coming to the market at the same time. And sometimes we are seeing splits within family units at the same time. So these units are coming onto the market. And these guys, they're not so economically charged at this point, right? If you have to make a move, you have to make a move. So I see more of these type of categories that are on the market right now. Irregardless of where the pricing is, they have to move this property. I think that the people that actually would say it's nice to have more space, or it's nice for me to kind of make this transition, I think those people are kind of on the sideline, which is slowing down our sales. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Like, do we think that this is going to go away once our weather improves? I think that yes, we're going to see a slight bit of improvement, because I don't think everybody out there is hurting, especially our clients. For some reason, we have really good clients, and they're financially sound and they want to make a good financial decision. So I don't blame them for kind of wanting to hold back right now. I think that people are going to want to eventually start to make these moves, regardless of what's happening out there. As we move along, I think though obviously the weather is going to improve. We're eventually going to get a federal government in place. Based on the polls, it seems like it's going to be a conservative government that's going to happen. Let's see what ends up happening and how long that actually takes, because I think, again, not to get too political, but we still have a bit of a transition period until things settle out, right? Right now, the Liberal Party is having their leadership race. It seems like it's going to be Mark Carney. And then, you know, is Jagmeet Singh going to vote to have a non-confidence, or are there things that they're still going to want to pass before they vote non-confidence? It's still kind of in the air. So I think this year, we're probably going to see a lot more people on the sidelines. Now, TRREB, again, I'm looking at the stats over here saying that sales are going to pick up 12.4%. I'm not completely convinced about that. It could happen, but at this point right now, where we're seeing inventory pick up and we're seeing the sales slow down, it doesn't feel like it. But, you know, in the next 2 months or 3 months, I think we're going to get a better indication of where things are going. But again, I always say this, everyone's situation is unique. We've named out a couple of these situations where there are unique situations, and everyone's area is a little bit different. So if you're wondering what the right move would be for you based on what your particular situation is and what your area is, feel free to reach out, shoot me a DM, click on the link below. I would be more than happy to kind of set up a quick 10-15 minute call with you and give you my feedback anyway. No pressure. I don't even actually need all of your information. You can just give me your phone number that I can reach you at, and I don't mind kind of giving you my feedback on, you know, what I would do if I were in your situation. I hope that this video was informational and it helped you guys understand where we are in the market a little bit right now. If it was, and I'm sure it was, I'd appreciate it if you like it, subscribe. I think we always have like authentic content that we're putting out. We're not just like writing up scripts and reading them out to you. It is my real life experience that's out there, and that's what I'm kind of giving you guys back, so you guys can make the correct decision for what you guys want to do right now. Until next time, guys, remember one thing: get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.